Come on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to episode 286 of the Wealth Tech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. And this podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Rafael Loureiro, co-founder and CEO of Wealth.com. Some of the things we spoke about include Wealth.com's $30 million Series A funding round led by Google Ventures, the fact that they are an AI-powered estate planning tool for advisors focusing on doc creation and analysis, and they're now expanding into the family office space, aiming to create a fiduciary ecosystem on their platform. And finally, we can't do an episode these days without talking about AI. And Rafael emphasized that Wealth.com sees AI as a co-pilot rather than the autopilot, requiring human review of all AI extracted data. AI is something that Ezra Group is working on a lot these days with our clients, and it's important to integrate AI into your tech stack, not let it take over your tech stack. And we all know that every tech stack that we've seen at least has a ton of tech debt, and AI can't save you from that. Only thing that can save you from that and from the anchor that's weighing down your efficiency and ability to scale is a company like Ezra Group who can come and help you reach exponential growth if you were to run, not walk to our website, ezragroup.com, and click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage. Then the experienced team at Ezra Group could help you by evaluating your current tech ecosystem, delivering targeted recommendations, optimizing your existing system operations, or even running an RFP and helping you implement new software to get your firm to the next level. Ezra Group just makes tech stacks better. You can take advantage of our free initial consultation by going to ezragroup.com. Now, a couple quick housekeeping tasks. Please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. Please go to our sponsor, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation at investinothers.org. And if you are a software vendor like Wealth.com, please go to our vendor portal and register at israelgroup.com/register so you can update your integration data, and your wealth tech integration score will be as good or better as Wealth.com's, which is currently a 7.15 in the estate planning category. Go Wealth.com. Now, let's kick this thing off. All right, I'm excited to introduce my next guest. It is Rafael Loureiro, co-founder and CEO of Wealth.com. Rafael, I'm so glad to be talking to you today.
Craig, I'm glad to be here. I feel like I've made it. I've made it in the wealth management space now. I'm being interviewed by Craig
That's
at
right, you
Wealth
are
Tech
here.
Today podcast.
You're here, Rafael. Congrats. It was a long time coming. You put in the hard work, you struggled, and you made it over the finish line. You're here. Now you can retire.
Let's do it. Sounds like the story of every startup.
That's right. Rafael, so besides that accomplishment of being on the Wealth Tech Today podcast, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Tempe, Arizona.
Mhm.
I've been here for 20 years. The accent, if you cannot tell, is it's Brazilian. I'm originally from Brazil.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm here in New Jersey, and it's a balmy 20 degrees. So I'm sure the weather's a little bit nicer where you are.
It is. I mean, I have this love-hate relationship with Arizona.
Mhm.
So around May, June timeframe, I'm like, what am I
Oh,
doing here? Right? I always have this conversation with my wife. Where are we moving? And then
right.
October rolls around, good weather,
Mhm.
beautiful skies, and then I'm like, yeah, we
Yeah, we like it
stay
here.
for another year.
I think people in New Jersey are the same way around January, February. Like, what are we doing
Yeah.
here? And then it gets nice. Great. So, for people who may not know, please give us a 30-second elevator pitch for wealth.com.
So Wealth.com combines three main verticals, right? So we are a technology first company, AI company, and legal expertise to revolutionize the estates planning space, keeping the financial advisor at score. But anytime I'm in the elevator, I never use this elevator pitch. The first question I ask is, do you have estate plan? And usually, most of the time, people say, no, I don't, right? I don't have enough wealth, or I'm not old enough. And that's where the conversation starts.
That is a funny um, thing. You've never done an elevator pitch, actually in an elevator, right?
In an elevator.
But it is a great question. And I think people are a little confused. and don't realize that the age isn't necessarily important when it comes to estate planning, but that may be just the way advisors have always presented it.
Absolutely not, right? When you're talking to people, I mean, if they have kids and they don't have a estate plan, they need a estate plan. If they have kids going to college, they need a estate plan. If they go to a hospital, do they need a surgery? They need estate plan. So there's a lot of misconceptions in this space, and I've learned a lot. I mean, the idea for Wealth.com came from our own pain, the
Mhm.
co-founding team pain,
Mhm.
right? We went through the process. Maybe I'll give you a little bit of the background from for the
Yeah,
idea for the company.
that's what I was going to ask. The next question, as you know, is how did you get here? You were at another startup, and had that background. We're both comp sci majors, right? So I love to get to geek out a bit. So tell a bit about your background and how you got here.
Absolutely. So actually, Wealth.com is my fourth different startup. I've been involved in different startups all over the years. I guess I'm not made to work for big corporations, even though I do have Accenture in my resume and I enjoy my time there. Accenture, Microsoft, Avanade, but different startups over time. Before Wealth.com, I was the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, for a global fraud prevention company called Imilage. We had this light bulb moment that no one was using the email address as a risk indicator, right? So we created the company in 2012. We sold the company in March 2020. Peak COVID, no vaccine, everyone working from home. Sold the company. It was a fairly good sized liquidity event. The founding team, the C-level team, we all went to the estate planning processes. And that's when we had the light bulb moment. And I'll give you like two examples. Ray Carvile, he's a Wealth.com chairman, and he was the middle age CEO, right? I mean, so the exit for him was a little bit bigger than mine. So he paid more money to get his documents in place, right? Several documents. He was also like me in Arizona for 20 years. And then after the liquidity event, he said, "Look, I'm done with the summers, Craig." I mean, he made the decision like, "I'm done with the summers. I'm moving to Denver." So he moved to Denver, Colorado, and surprise, he got a call from the lawyers and said, "Hey, now that you're in Colorado, you need to update your documents, your estate planning documents, right?" And he had just spent like thousands and thousands of dollars to get his documents in place. That's one example. The other one's my own. I have a financial advisor. They're great. They're actually a client. They know everything about me. They know my family. They know my asset complexion. They know my aspirations, I should say. But when it was time to do the estate plan, they said, "Hey, look, we always work with this lawyer. Go talk to him." I went to the lawyer expecting a super connected process because they know everything about me. But I could not be more wrong. Got to the lawyer. The whole technology was a Microsoft Word document. Hey, can you fill out the blanks? And then 5,000 later, I got my documents and then start collecting dust in a shelf, right? So in Village, fraud prevention, nowadays I would call AI company, but back then it was not AI, it was machine learning, right? We were using deep learning, we were using statistic models, right? No one was saying AI. And but we're like used to work with millions and millions of transactions on a daily basis. I'm not gonna name clients because it was a fraud prevention company and they tried to keep the information super confidential. But I mean, the solution was deployed all over the place. So going to the experience with state planning, we all had this light bulb moment say, hey, there must be a better way. And I know, Craig, this is one thing that you keep bringing up in your podcast, integration, right? With Emailage, we had like upwards of 100 different integrations, right? So why can we not create a solution with the right integrations in place that we can keep your estate planning always up to date? You move, you get married, your shares vest, you cross tax threshold. Those are all alerts that we can identify, notify the advisor, and update the document with the client consent. So that was the idea at that point. I mean, that was the crude idea. And one thing that was unique is we had sold a company, and I was able to bring all my A players and say, "Hey, we have a new idea. Let's go." So I brought my developers, my DevOps, my security people, and then we hit the ground running. We went from having an idea to have a product in market in 9 months.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's just a testament to one, your serial entrepreneurship. So you had that team, you had the knowledge, you understood what it took to get started. But also, coming from our background, technology has changed so much, and the level of effort you need to build technology now is like 1/100th what it was even 10 years ago. I listened to a lot of startup podcasts, and they were talking about the teams needed for funding. Like you needed $10 million, 20 years ago, a minimum, and 100 people to get a startup going. Then 10 years ago, maybe it was $1 million and 10 people. Now it's $100,000 and one person can do a startup.
I love that you said that because I don't. That's one thing I didn't touch. Lessons learned is with the previous company, I actually had data centers. So I had like three data centers deployed because we had
Sure.
to provide high availability. And for your listeners, I mean, we had like 5 nines of availability. And what that means is we could only be down 5 minutes a year.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we would start like compensating clients. I mean, that's a very tough spot. So we
Hmm.
had like three data centers, but I own the servers, right? So throughout the company evolution, I migrated everything to the cloud gradually,
Hmm.
right? So everything became serverless. We start using containers. Now with Wealth.com, I had the opportunity to say, hey, let's start this the right way. So from day zero, everything is serverless, everything is scalable, no single point of contentions. We have the solution deployed in Oregon and North Virginia with AWS, right? So fully scalable. But to your point, you are 100% right. I just had this experience this week.
Hmm.
We were hiring a developer, and as part of the test, we gave him an exercise, and it took the guy like 4 hours to complete.
Hmm.
And then one of my engineers said, "Hey, look, use Copilot." So the same request, he just
Hmm.
put on Copilot, the same request, and got the code done in literally seconds.
Hmm.
I mean, it takes minutes because you have to copy from, and I'm
Correct.
promoting Copilot here, from Copilot to the code. But I mean, that's your point. I mean, that's AI, right? Helping
Mhm.
developers become more efficient. I actually saw a very interesting article recently saying that 25% of Google's code, new
Mhm.
code, is AI written.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yep. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's the
From
new
nothing
age.
to 25% of, and they have I don't know, I've never worked at Google. I have a couple of friends who work there, but I know they got a lot of code. And for 25% of code at Google, that's a serious haul of code that's now AI driven.
Hey, Craig, I mean, we got the investment from Google Ventures. So,
Mhm.
my first call, hey, guys, hook
Mhm.
me up. How can I get my hands on this? But apparently, it's the internal tool. They don't share
Ah,
externally.
but we also do this. We here at Ezra Group, we do a lot of integration work as well. And we build out a lot of integrations for clients. And we were testing out, we were using Claude, Anthropic, and writing Python code to do integration testing. And yeah, it just spits it out. The speed to say, well, I need code to here's the inputs, here's the outputs. Write the Python code to exercise this integration or this API. It just spits it out, and you've got it. And it's mind-boggling how long it might have taken to find the right libraries, and to get it, then say, well, I'm running on a Mac. Well, how do I install Python on my Mac? Well, here's how you do it. Here's the error I got when I tried to download the library. It didn't install. Oh yeah, your path wasn't set right. Yeah, how many hours we spend because the path wasn't right trying to compile code and it wasn't bringing the right libraries in. If you remember those days.
My concern now is with the new generation, for the new junior developers. How do they learn? I mean, how do they get the experience? Because now they're going to be competing with AI. For people like you and I that have done it,
Mhm.
right, easier. We have the background. We know when the code looks right, when the
Mhm.
code looks wrong. But if you're starting and you need to get the experience, it's going to be challenging.
It's no different than any other major technology change. Look when we went from, solid state where everything was when you programmed for the short time we were programming with actual physical wires, and there were people or then they moved to punch cards, right? There are people who learned how to program on punch cards. They go, well, how do you go from that and then testing your code manually, like running through the loops on a piece of paper to test your code? How are they going to do that when they go to a computer? Well, we figured out how to do that, right? So every
Yeah,
leap in computer technology, the next generation has it easy, but then they have their own challenges they need to work through.
100%. I agree.
But you mentioned Google Ventures. I wanted to talk about that. So you just secured, congratulations, the $30 million Series A led by Google Ventures. What incredible speed, right? So you've just founded the company in 2022 and boom, $30 million just falls in your lap. It was just so easy. Can you talk about, going there, besides what you just mentioned, but how you got, what kind of milestones you had to get through and hurdles you had to get through in just a short amount of time in a market that's a bit crowded. The estate planning market is not like there wasn't anybody here doing this already.
Yeah, I wouldn't say easy. I mean, it was not easy, but we had the right team. And I know it sounds cheesy when I keep repeating team, team, team,
Mhm.
but a couple things were in our favor. One, uh, we had the technology background, right? That I brought from Image, and I was able to bring a lot of my A players from Image and hit the ground running. Second, I knew nothing. I mean, an outsider from the wealth management space, right? So I brought an amazing co-founder in Danny Lorfink, right? So Danny is a former Goldman Sachs, former SoFi. My chief legal officer, and I don't know if she likes when I say this, but she's a monster. I mean, she speaks four language, Columbia, Yale, JD, concert pianist, and Rhodes. And she used to work for two of the most prominent state planning firms in the U.S., McDermott, Will and Emery, and Perkins and Coie. So we brought that knowledge. We launched the company in June 2022. I mean, no product market fit at that point. Uh, we do have other players in the space, but it's still blue ocean. There's no incumbent. I mean, we're not displacing Microsoft or displacing Google, right? Our original product was document creation. So at that point, we could create your revocable trust, your will, power of attorney, advanced healthcare directive. And then we're still like defining a go-to market when we got advisors coming to us and say, hey, look, I'm having this conversation with my clients every day. How can I work with wealth.com? Right. So we kind of tailor our product to financial advisors. We close the direct to consumer door, or we should say we never invest in direct to consumer. And but one thing we noticed, Craig, is when you're working with advisors, usually, and I mean, you probably know this more than I because I mean, you've been in this space for a longer time. But usually, their book of business, 80% of his or her clients are mass affluent, right? Between $10,000 all the way to $5 million in assets. But 80% of his or her revenue comes from the 20% of high net worth clients or ultra high net worth clients. So doing the document creation, I was only helping 80% of the clients,
Mhm.
right? So that's when we had the realization, and that's when we introduced Esther. We're the first one to introduce AI. Like, hey, for this 20%, the high net worth and ultra high net worth, we're not going to be creating documents, but can we use AI to read their existing documents and then extract all the intelligence into the platform? Right? And summarize their information. And then at that point, the advisor can sit down with the client and do the what if scenarios. What if you add a SLAT? What if you add a GRAT? There was a lot of lessons learned throughout this process. We bought a beautiful domain, wealth.com. So we want a website that was as good as the domain name. So we made a lot of investment in UX, UI, also, I should say user interface, right? We hired the same company that develop Robinhood and Coinbase websites because we want to make this easy. We want to make this easy for advisors. We want to make this easy for the advisors and the client. 2023, I would say it was the year where we established the brand. Who is Wealth.com? Besides having a domain, who are these guys, right? So we went to a lot of events. We established, and this is something that it was super successful for us. We established our advisory council, which is that's Thomas Koppelman, Justin Castelli, Desarty Arnway, Samantha Russell, and these people became for us a sounding board for our product, and also gave legitimacy to our platform. I mean, we're here to stay. We want to make sure that solution is hitting the mark. I would say in 2023, I mean, our first year, we grew like 5,000%. That's crazy, right? I mean, that's coming from nothing, 5,000%. 2024 is when we start like closing, moving away, not moving away, I shouldn't say moving away, but in addition to the independent IRAs, we start closing the wirehouses on the platform. That's when we introduced the family office suite, right? And now we have one of the most prestigious wirehouse as a client with a fully deployed to all the private wealth team. So I wouldn't say it's easy, but it
Mhm.
was definitely fast grow. So we grew 3x over 2023, and that's where Google became super interested, and it's their first investment in the wealth tech space. And I think we're getting more. I mean, we just saw Robinhood acquiring Trade PMR. I mean, we're getting a lot of attention in the wealth management space.
Yeah, that was big news, right? On the custodial side. Did that impact you guys at all?
No, no.
Just interesting to hear how they're doing that, right? So yeah, I wasn't trying to imply. I was joking that it was easy. Obviously, nothing's ever easy when you're starting a company, but it is quick, right? So the speed to market and the speed into become known in the industry was really fast. If you don't mind me asking, what did it cost that domain name? I was always wondering how much it cost to buy a well-known word, the domain name.
If I'll tell you, I have to kill you. I can't tell you. I
Is it
mean,
eight
it was.
figures?
Eh, uh, no.
No. So nine
It was less
figures.
than 8 figure,
Yeah.
9 figure. No, 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 7 figures,
Seven, so 7 figures, right? Nine would be more. 7 figures, right? Still
seven
a lot.
figures.
That's got to kill you to push that button on the transfer, the money transfer, right?
100%. But I mean, we wanted a name that it gave us legitimacy from day zero, right? I mean, it's a new space. I mean, we want to show them, hey, we're here to stay,
Right.
uh, and we want to do more for you, right? Estate plan is definitely a focus, but I want to keep expanding
Mhm.
with this
Well,
name.
I don't have to kill you. I'll tell you, I bought EzraGroup.com. It cost me $10,000, and that hurt me to pay that money, right? But but so I understand completely. It's just there's something you need. It's part of the marketing. That even how good your product is, if no one can find it,
Well,
it's a
I
problem.
mean, and we get so many organic visits. I mean, it's out of this world. It's just the wealth.com. And the funny thing is, the person that bought the domain 20 years, 25 years ago. He bought 2,000 domains and he
Mhm.
sat on these domains for the longest time. When they start charging for the domains, he dropped a bunch of them and just kept, I would say, 100
Yeah.
domains, including wealth.com. So there's
Mhm.
actually an article from the Wall Street Journal from 2009, I think, saying who is going to buy wealth.com. The Wall Street Journal article, who's going to buy wealth.com? It was us. But a lot of negotiation, a lot of back and forth, had
Mhm.
never been used. But yeah, he's
Interesting.
smart. I mean, it cost
Sure.
it cost a pretty penny, but I think it was super worth it.
Oh
I
yeah.
would not do it any other way.
It's just a great story and a great lesson for anyone in a startup that you need a good name, right? And of course, you know that I run the Advisor Tech Map with Michael Keatsis, and every month we see new companies coming in with the worst names, just terrible names. I realize it's hard to find domain names now, but still, some names just are just terrible, hard to pronounce, you know, or they don't make any sense. Like, is one of your competitors is Vanilla, right? So now Vanilla doesn't make any doesn't have anything to do with wealth or doesn't have anything to do with asset management or estate planning. I believe they said that because they wanted to focus on vanilla estate planning, but still, that's tough. You need a lot of money in marketing to connect that non-connected word to estate planning, and that's true in any industry, like lemonade with insurance. Well, what does that mean? It doesn't make any sense. So it's different strategy. It's a common word, but then you're still spending a lot of money to connect that word to your product.
Totally agree. I mean, I saw another company, and I mean, I'm not. For me, the more companies in this space, the better. I mean, I truly believe. I mean, rising tide raise
Mm,
all ships. I mean, very few people have estate planning, so we need
mhm.
more of this conversation, not less. But I saw a company recently. I mean, the product name was Death Book. I'm like, it's already hard to convince people to do estate
You say
plan, and you're
death
gonna call
book?
Death Book. I'm like, I'm not a marketing expert. I'm an engineer guy. That's my background. But I mean, I would not call my company Death Book, and it's just gonna make it harder
There's a
to sell
company,
your
I
product.
won't say the name, but it was they used a spice as the name of the company. I won't say which one. Let's assume it was Pepper, right? What's not what it is,
Hmm.
but and for a technology company in our space, like most people are going to think that's a cooking company, right? Or it was maybe let's just say it's called Coriander. It's not what it was, but you're going to call your company Coriander. Most likely, it should be involved in cooking or something, right?
Yes.
So don't they need to try to link that to AI or wealth management somehow. And you don't have a lot of money. It's a losing battle.
I totally agree. I
Mm,
totally agree. Yeah, name is very important. And for us, I mean, new space, we had to hit the ground running, made the investment wealth.com, and
mm,
it's been super successful, like you said. I mean, the growth
mm.
uh, has been unique, super unique. And I
So
mean, 2025, Craig, I'm super excited. I know I mean, we're not talking about the future here, but not
well,
yet.
soon we will. We're
Soon,
almost there.
soon. But I've never been so excited because IRAs,
Mm,
wirehouses. Now we're
mm,
closing some of the most prominent wirehouses as clients and broker dealers, right? So
mm.
I feel like this is going to be our biggest year.
Mm.
And we have some announcements, some product that we actually launched at T3 that I'm looking forward to it. Super excited.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about the future. So, what is on the roadmap this year at wealth.com? What can we expect to see? What's coming up?
So there's more. I mean, I can't tell you the roadmap. I feel like every time we announce something, some of our competitors copy, right? So I try to keep some of the information guarded, but like
Mhm,
we first wants to introduce AI. So for me, AI is never a done job, as you know well,
mhm,
being a computer scientist. I mean, it's always evolving. So that's one thing that for us is always a focus for the company, right? I hire my head of AI, applied AI comes from Microsoft. He used to report directly to Mustafa Suleiman, which is Microsoft's AI CEO,
mhm,
right? So that's something I invest a lot of money, a lot of time, and it's going to keep evolving. Some of the products you're going to see this year are all AI centric,
mhm,
right? So we're going beyond just reading documents. We want to become, I should say, like the advisor. I mean, we want to be
mhm,
close to the advisor, providing inputs about the state plans, providing feedbacks about the state plan. Hey, it's time to update your client on these. I mean, this data approaching, talk to your client. And to your point, Craig, one thing I know you constantly repeat on your podcast is I don't want to keep this data siloed.
mhm,
Right. We have several integrations. I mean, we integrate with all the CRMs in place. So not only keep this information in wealth.com, but also push to the advisor CRM. So it's always front and center. The document creation, we're adding additional documents. I'm not going to name them yet, but
mhm,
there will be additional documents you're going to be able to do through the platform. Uh, uh, I want to start bringing more of the fiduciaries into wealth.com. Right. I
mm,
want to bring the trust and estate lawyers, right? So
mhm,
work with these wirehouses, work with the advisor. I also want to bring in the trust and estate lawyer so he or she can see the extract from Esther, can actually collaborate with the advisor to benefit the client. He or she can actually use wealth.com as an independent platform to read their own documents in their office, right? I
mhm.
want to bring the CPA in as well to do tax planning. Right. So I want to create this fiduciary ecosystem within the wealth.com platform.
That sounds exciting. And your integrations are already doing well. On the Ezra Group Wealth Tech Integration Score, you are number one in estate planning with a score of 7.7. So congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. And I know I also noticed that our podcast was the only podcast name on Kitsy's survey, right, for
Hmm.
estate planning podcast. So we're doing something
All right.
right here.
Yeah, there you go. It's you're working your way up. I have to give you guys kudos as well. Fantastic job. All right, so if in 2 minutes, can you share a little bit about Esther, the legal assistant, and how do you balance AI technology with the human expertise necessary in estate planning? What can you share there?
Yes, absolutely. So one thing we always tell our advisors, Esther is not AI in autopilot. It's AI in co-pilot mode, right? Esther does the extraction job, right? And we do an amazing job extracting the data. But before we import this data into the system, The advisor has to review the data, or the trusted state lawyer has to review the data and confirm the extraction is correct. We make the process of confirmation super easy because not only we show the data that we extract, we show the data where we got the data from. So we show you the paragraph, so you can quickly, in minutes, review all the data and confirm. So nothing goes through Esther in autopilot mode. The second thing that we do that's super unique is we have a rubric of a lot of estate planning documents where our own legal team and roads team have annotated. So anytime we do an enhancement, which is constant, as you know, I mean, every month there is a new improvement with AI models, right? Google Gemini Flash 2.0 right now, for example. So we update the model and we run against this baseline to make sure the score is still above 90% accuracy. Right, so that's how we work. It's not AI in autopilot; it's AI in co-pilot mode. I want to emphasize.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you were able to share that. And now we are out of time. So we all know where you can find more information about wealth.com. It's at wealth.com. So go to wealth.com and find out more information. Rafael, great to meet you in person or meet you on Zoom. I'm glad you could be here. Thanks so much.
Craig, thank you. I feel like I made it. I'm gonna drop the microphone now, but we're gonna be running Wealth.com Connect events throughout the US. So make sure to attend one. We're gonna have investors on site. Our product team is gonna be on site, prospect clients, and then existing clients. So it's a great opportunity to learn about Wealth.com.
And you'll be at T3.
And I'm gonna be at T3. I usually go to a lot of these events.
I want to see you there.
All right, Craig, looking forward to it.
You too. Take care, man. Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top three takeaways from this episode. Wealth.com, we talked about the origin story and the founding team. We talked about product evolution and AI integration, how they were initially focused on document creation for mass affluent clients, and they introduced Esther, their AI to analyze documents for high net worth clients. We talked about market positioning and growth. I always find it interesting to talk to vendors and how they're shifting their focus. And what Wealth.com is doing is shifting from direct to consumer to serving advisors. That's an interesting pivot. And they're seeing rapid growth and attracting interest from wirehouses and broker dealers. And future plans, they're expanding their AI capabilities to provide more advisor insights and recommendations. And they're hosting Wealth.com Connect events throughout the US for prospects and clients. That's it. You reached the end of another episode of the Wealth Tech Today podcast. But before you go, please go to our website, edgeworkgroup.com, and scroll to the bottom of the homepage and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you'll receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.